Welcome Tamers, I'm Jack, also known as Jack Attacks. Today we are going to take a look at MetalGarurumon Purple, also known as Melga Purple. Juan Walteros took first place at the Latin American July 17th Evolution Cup with 248 players attending. This is quite the feat, and he did it with what most people would consider a questionable deck choice of Melga Purple. We are going to take a more in-depth look and see how he built his deck to get a win in a BT4 format where Purple has seen very little success at high-level play. We are going to break this deck down into three components: engine, synergies, and deck building. The engine for Melga Purple decks usually needs to fuel the trash. Looking at what fuels the trash, we have 4 copies of Digimon with an inheritable: when destroyed, draw 1 card, then trash 1 card in your hand. 3 copies of Gabumon with an inheritable: when destroyed, draw 1 card, then trash 1 card in your hand. 3 copies of Lady Devimon with when Digivolve, draw 2, then trash 2 cards in your hand. 1 copy of Deathclaw, which allows you to delete one of your Digimon to delete one of your opponent's Digimon level 4 or lower. And 4 copies of MetalGarurumon, allowing Digiburst 2 to cast an option that costs 7 or less from your hand. These cards all allow you to gain some sort of advantage while putting cards in the trash, be it when destroyed triggers, Digiburst, or when Digivolving. This seems like it may be a low count, but it's 24% of the deck. When you combine that with the fact other cards will naturally go to the trash with normal gameplay, this is more than enough to fuel the trash. With our engine online, how do we abuse it? This deck is built to abuse the trash with cards like Nailbone. What synergies do we have? Recursion is a sub-theme of this deck, and we are going to take a look at these cards. The deck contains 3 copies of Dracomon with an on-play effect that allows you to return one 1-cost or 7-cost option to your hand from the trash, which can get back Deathclaw, Trump Sword, and Nailbone. The deck also contains 1 copy of Skull Satamon with when Digivolving, you may return 1 purple Digimon from your trash to your hand. It also contains 2 copies of Anubismon with when Digivolving, you may play 1 level 3 Digimon card from your trash. On-play effects do work. So Dracomon should be highly considered since it's the only level 3 that has an on-play effect. It also contains 2 copies of Matashita with on-play return 1 purple Digimon or purple option card from your trash to your hand. And the last thing it has is 4 copies of Nailbone, which allows you to bring back 1 level 3 and or level 4 purple Digimon, and on-play effects don't activate. These cards allow us to reuse cards by putting Digimon in play or putting cards from the trash back to our hand. There are 12 cards that recur cards from the trash. This is approximately 24% of the deck, which means we can abuse what the engine of the deck is already doing, as some cards can be used multiple times if the right scenario comes up. For example, take this board state. We Digivolve into an Anubismon and play Dracomon from trash to return Nailbone to our hand, which is in our trash. By Digivolving just Anubismon, we gain 2 cards. As Dracomon comes into play, we get to bring back Nailbone, gaining 2 cards we didn't have before. How did these cards get in the trash, you may ask? That's where the engine comes into play. By either playing these cards normally and them ending up in the trash normally, or either discarding these cards to trash by using our engine. Next, we are briefly going to cover a few more synergies that the deck has, as if we list all of them, this video would be much longer. We are going to start with the namesake of the deck, MetalGarurumon. The cards we can abuse with his Digiburst ability are Nailbone. Pro tip, by Digibursting both your level 3 and your level 4, you can then regrow both Digimon you just Digiburst. Deathclaw, Trump Sword, and Hell's Gate. The card you most commonly will want to cast for MetalGarurumon ability will be Nailbone, just due to the pure advantage it will give you, but evaluate the game state as the other cards may be better in different scenarios. Next card is Nailbone. This card is straightforward, but there are some things to point out. Any Digimon with on-play abilities will not activate, therefore we normally would like to avoid bringing back Dracomon. There may be a scenario that bringing them back is correct. Be sure to evaluate fully prior to choosing targets for Nailbone. Another synergy for Nailbone that needs to be looked into is if you have Anubismon in play. Basically, any Digimon that you play from the trash while Anubismon is in play gains Rush, which means they can attack the turn they come into play. We covered the Dracomon synergy with Anubismon earlier in an example, so we are going to move on. A more obscure but very good synergy is Lady Devimon's Inheritable, which states, once per turn, on your turn, when you use an option card, you may delete a level 3 Digimon your opponent controls, which means all option cards synergize with Lady Devimon. Another synergy to understand is if you have a Lady Devimon under a MetalGarurumon. You get to use her ability from MetalGarurumon's Digiburst ability as long as you didn't Digiburst Lady Devimon to the trash. Deck building choices are what we will look at next, or in other words, the ratio of cards in the deck, as we need enough options to make MetalGarurumon work, and we have to have the right number of Digimon at each level to successfully go up the stack consistently. There are 12 level 3 Digimon, 11 level 4 Digimon, 8 level 5 Digimon, 6 level 6 Digimon, and 2 level 7 Digimon, along with 9 option cards and 2 tamers. In deck building, we almost always see that there are more lower level Digimon than there are higher level ones. With some notable exclusions like Megazoo aside, this is deck building 101. Normally when thinking of deck builds in ratios, you want to make sure you can go up your stack efficiently and on time. With decks like this, however, we break that mold as we trim numbers to make room for the increased number of option cards we play. This means we have to find consistency elsewhere, with what I'm calling the filtering effect, is how this deck does this. The filtering effect is the ability that allows you to draw cards and discard cards. Basically, this allows you to smooth your hand out because we are discarding cards early we generally want to play later in the game. We need a way to recur them. This is where the recursion subtheme of the deck comes into play. These style decks are generally a lot harder to get your numbers correct, as it takes a ton of testing to figure the numbers of each card out exactly. So a shout out to Juan Walteros and whoever else put in the time to figure out the numbers. Last thing we will cover in this video is what some people would consider oddball picks. Miasmon may also seem weird, but this card has a function as well, and a big part is being 7k DP. This dodges Wargreymon well enough, which is a huge part of the field at this time. Miasmon also only costs 2 to Digivolve, which can be helpful in memory choking your opponent. Skullmarimon looks strange, but there is a reason he is in the deck as well, and that's the play cost. The fact that it costs 5 to play from your hand allows you to go into a level 6 Digimon fairly early, even if you have an awkward hand, not giving your opponent a lot of memory to work with at the same time. I just want to shout out Juan Walteros one last time for taking a deck most people would question as a meta pick and putting in the work to take down the Latin American Evolution Cup. Gamers, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe, as well as leave a comment if this was helpful or you think I have no idea what I'm talking about. With that all being said, I'm done here and I gotta go. Bye.